This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so we'll get started. Sorry for the delay. So what do we see now is, where did we stop yesterday? So we were looking at the different types of access, isn't it? So different types of access, what we had was the individual access and the dual access, and then the third one is the blended access here. So we got uh, three different types of access, which are the dual, which are the blended, and the individual access. So yesterday we were looking at the first type of access, so which was the individual access. So now we will try to understand the other two types of access here. So we will get started with a dual access. All right. So simple one line statement for dual access. Place the measures on the opposite side of existing measure. So very simple statement which I am making here is, so place the measure on the opposite side of existing measure. So then that is called as the dual access. So let's take a look at the dual access now. Let's connect to the data very quickly. So our data is stored in the data sources folder. Then select the file. Then just double click that. And let's go to the sheet. Okay. So what we build now is the dual access, which is very commonly used in the day-to-day activities here. All right. So let's take a look. So now what do I want to build here is, let's take one dimension. So it can be anything. So I'm taking here the subcategory, drag and drop into the rows. Okay. Now let's take a measure, which is the sales. So I'm taking a measure and drag and drop into the column shelf. Okay. So what is the type of access here? So type of access is individual only, because we got only one access and only one measure. And how many marks cards we have? It's only one. So there's no change till now. And now I want to take the another measure, and if I just place it here, then what is the type of access again? This is again the individual access only, isn't it? Because every access is having its own starting value. Okay, but what we want to build is the dual access. So dual access means, so the other you have to place the other measure to the opposite side of the axis here, right? You have to place the measure on the opposite side. So take like this and just release your measure and drag and drop it here. See what I'm doing? Taking the measure, and so I'm just dragging that to the opposite side like this. So what happened here? So you can see that measure is coming up here as profits, isn't it? So if you have the two types of access like this, so it is the one is the sales, one is the profits. I have two measures. If I drag opposite to that, then this is called as the dual access, right? So you can place on the opposite side of the measure. All right. But if you observe, so what is that? So what is that we got here? So we got two axes here. That's fine. And take a look here. So in the dual axis also, do I get same number of marks cards? Plus two measures means 2 plus 2 plus 1 which is the combined marks card. Okay, so there's no change in individual and dual. So the marks card is the same. So number of marks cards is 3. Okay, point number 1. These are interview questions, please. And then I don't want these circles. I want to have the bars. Okay, you can have that here. So that is not a problem. So pick that here. If you want to change everything to the bar, put that like this. So you can see the sales in one color, profits in another color. Now I changed my mind. I don't want everything in bars. So I'm changing back to circle. I want sales in one shape. That means in one type of chart. Let's say the bars. And I want profits in circles. Yes, you can keep that. So it is a user's choice how you want to have. And can I swap the view? Definitely you can swap the view. So it looks like this, and put it in the entire view. So is it very similar to your cricket marks card score? So number of overs, number of runs, and if you see this, so we get the information like you lost a wicket in this, some kind of information, isn't it? I want to take this out and place it here so that it occupies the complete screen. Right. So now if you have two different types of charts on one screen, this is called as the dual combination charts. So the name for this is dual combination. So that means one is in bar, one is in circle. So then it is called as a dual combination. And now I want to have everything in the line format. So is it possible? So I want everything in the lines format means I'm clicking on all and changing that to line. So this is how it looks like. So everything is now in the lines format. But observe here. So this is the blue color one is profit, and the orange color one is the sales. It looks like they are on the same height, isn't it? Yes. Place your mouse on that. So it is profit 55,000. Observe the sales number. It is 3,28,000. The peaks looks to be same, but why so much of difference? So 3,28,000, and this number is 55,000. But why it shows as same? So this is not right. So something is not right here, isn't it? Then what is the problem here? Problem here is once we perform the dual access, so there is a next step here, which is synchronization of the access. So we have to synchronize the access here. So what does that mean? So two axes should have same scales. So this scale is starting from 0 and it has 100k, 200k. But this scale, the profit scale is 10k, 20k. That means the scales are not the same. So it is different. Then what to do here? So don't forget to do synchronized access. Either you right click on this and select this option, or right click on this and select this option, synchronize the axis here. So when you do that, now both are on the same scales. So the scale means this one. So what is the range of each scale? 50k, and here also it is 50k. Now this is the correct output. The previous one is not right output because we did not synchronize the axis here. All right. So if you have two lines, then it is called as a dual lines chart. So it is called as the dual lines chart. And if you have one as a bar and another one as a circle or any other shapes, then it is called as the dual combination charts. So there are two things here. If it is in the same thing, so dual chart, and if it is a lines, say lines chart, dual bar, so dual bar. But so if you have a bar and a line, so then it is called as dual combination. So remember these words here, because these are the interview questions. So how do we build it? Let's do it again very quickly. So clear everything. Sorry, clear everything means that this button, isn't it? So let's get rid of everything. Right. Now let's take any dimension from the left. So this time I'm taking product name. So I have so many product names, isn't it? Very nice. And let's take here sales and put that in the columns. Can I swap the view? Swap it. Can I change it to lines chart? Okay, your wish, change it to lines chart. But here, observe, I have to scroll through everything. I don't want to scroll. So can you show me in one screen? I don't want to scroll. Yes, you can show that. How? So look at this drop down and observe there is an entire view option here. Click on that. Everything will be squeezed like this. So everything will be squeezed like this. So you can show entire screen for that product name. So you have too many products. That's why it is scrolling now. No, I don't want to show product name. I changed my mind. I want to have some other dimension here. Let's say which one. Let's say the same thing, subcategory. Now instead of removing product name from here, can I override that? Yes, you can do that. How? So carefully take this and place it exactly on the top of it. All right. So if you place that here, it will create another dimension. But override, so just place your mouse exactly on that. All right. So the product name will be removed, and it is now showing subcategory. All right. So I just did in a different way. Same example, but in a different way, covering the entire view and overriding option. All right. Now I want to build the dual axis. So take the second measure, which is a profit. Why only profit? Can we take any other measure? You can take, that's your choice. And take the second measure, and where I should drop on the opposite side of the existing axis. Where is opposite side? So this is the sales. So drag and drop on the opposite side of the existing axis. So it should be opposite. It's a dual. And next important step is performing the synchronization. So many people tend to forget this in the beginning. So perform, synchronize the axis here. Now both are same, isn't it? So both scales are same. And let's remove this from here. And I want to hide this as well because both are same. So I want to hide it. Can you do that? Yes. Right click on this and unselect this option, which is show header. Unselect this option, show header. Then that is hidden. That is hidden. Oh, sir, how to get it back again? So how to get that back? So people try to right click here. So do you find anything? No. So where do you get that? Here is come back to the profit, because that is what the scale which you hide. Right click on this and say here show header. So this is now coming back here. So if you want to hide it, unselect from here, and if you want to put it back, so do that from here. All right. So you can also do that from here. Unselect this, it will be gone. So multiple ways you can do that. And show the labels. This is what the labels. I just clicked on the labels, and it is trying to show everything here. Right. So this is something about the dual axis. You have two axes on the screen. Right. Okay, so let's build the next type of axis here. So only a couple of points important. In dual axis also you will have 3 marks cards if you have 2 measures. 2 measures means 3 marks cards, which is same as individual axis, which is the same. All right. Now let's analyze the next type of axis, which is the blended axis. What is the third category we have? So third category is the blended axis. So first one was individual axis, and second was a dual, and third is blended axis. Okay, so what is blended? So blending means, remember, blending means mixing, right? So because we have another terminology here, we will mix the data as well. So we have another concept, we'll see the later stage. It is data blending, right? So blending means mixing, combining. Okay, right. Now let's only worry about this. Blending means mixing. Then what should I do here? So here, place the measure on the existing measure or existing axis. So dual means opposite, but blending means on the existing measure. Okay, how do I do that? Existing measure, how do I do that? Okay, let's take the same example here. Same thing, subcategory, sales and profits. But let's build it for the blended axis. So this is a third one, which is the blended axis. All right. Okay. So now let's drag the subcategory. I want to drag and drop means I'm lazy fellow. I don't want to do that. Just double click that, then it shows the values. Shortcut, isn't it? So we can use a lot of shortcuts in Tableau. So just double click that, and you will get the values in the rows. It doesn't go to columns, but by default it goes into the rows here. Right? Okay, I got one here, and let's drag the sales into the columns. That's fine. And what is a blended axis? So read this line one more time very quickly. Place the measure on the existing measure or existing axis. So that means take this measure profit, and if I drag it here, this is individual. If I drag it on the opposite side of the sales, so this is sales. If I drag it here, then this is a dual axis. But if I take this second measure and put it on the existing measure, so this is a measure. I want to place profit also in this. So release your mouse, and you can see that the two axis is now combined into only one axis. So we see only one axis here, isn't it? We don't see two axes. I see only one axis. So how did we do that? So a couple of things to observe here. So take the second measure and drag and drop it on the existing axis. When you do that, this we call it as the blended axis, point number 1, and the name of the axis will change to the value. The name of the axis will get changed to value, and that the second point, observe here as well. Where is my sales? Where is my profit? I don't see both of them, but instead I'm seeing measure names and measure values. Okay, that means we are trying to understand what is measure names and what is measure values. Okay, so what are they? Let's take a look here. Let's go to the notepad, and here we have measure names and measure values. Okay, so let's take a look at the measures what we have here. All right, let's take a look at measures here. We have discount, we have profit, sales, and so on. And these have some numbers, isn't it? So these have some numbers. That means that these have some values like this 10% or 20%, so 20%, something like that. And similarly, profit also has some numbers, and the sales also have some numbers. Now, what is measure names and measure values? These things, the names, are called as measure names. Measure names means names of the measures here. So that means discount, profit, sales. These are called as the measure names. And these values, whatever you have the actual value, that is called as the measure values. Everything is a measure only, but the combined one here, we are calling it as measure names, and the values we are calling as measure values. Now what happened here? Why it is displaying measure names and measure values? Yes, a valid question. So why is that showing there? Sir, what you combined there? What we combined there? We combined sales and profits. So we combined both of them. So now both of them should be combined. So what is the name for this combination? So it says this is a measure name. So this measure name contains two measures. It has a sales and a profits. And another one we got here, which is the measure values. So what is the value you have? What are the values you have for these two? So that values you will have in this. Values of sales and profits. That means the names contain sales and profit. Values contains the actual numbers. How do we believe you? Very good. So don't worry about this filter, but just I'm right clicking on that and just saying edit filter, and you can see that measure names now contain profit and sales. And this is just the dimension, isn't it? Just the name. So name, I cannot do anything. I cannot understand my business. So the names go under measure names. And what are the actual values you have for sales and profits? So that goes into the measure values. And where are these measure values? It is pointing to this here. Right? It is pointing to this here. Measure values is these two. Measure names, it is just the names which is pointing to this here. All right. Okay. So when we do blended axis means there is a sorry, we are combining more than one measure, and when we combine more than one measure, the names goes into the measure names and the values gets into the measure values. All right, so this is how we can start using these two things, but there are many other ways. This is just the beginning. Okay, now I don't want to put this measure name here. Can I remove it here? Okay, if you want to remove, just remove it. What happens? And this one contains everything here. So it has got two things, but I want to show that as colorful one. I want to remove it from here. Okay, remove it. But I'll just put that in the color palette here. Right, I just want to put that in the color palette and maybe swap the view. So it's now, so one bar is divided into two parts here, isn't it? Okay, so one bar is divided or sliced into multiple bars. So what do we call that is the discrete coloring. When we slice one bar into smaller pieces, then we call that as the discrete coloring, or the technical term for that is stacked bar. So what do we call that as? The stacked bar. That means you have more than one slice in that bar, and it's not needed to show them in colors. You can just remove that from here, and still you should have those two colors here. So you can find that, but it will be like one behind the other. We cannot actually see them. But so for that reason, I'm just putting that into the colors. So this is called as the stacked bar. So stacked bar means when one bar is sliced into different smaller pieces, then it is called as the stacked bar. I'll show you another example after this. Okay, so can I change from the bars to a different formats? I can change it, but observe a very important point. How many marks cards do we have? It is only one. So why one? How many measures you have here? In green color, only one. So only one marks card. Very important interview question. So how many marks cards will you get when you perform blended access? So it is only one, because in green color, how many you have? Only one, so only one. But in the previous one, two measures, so 3 marks cards. But here only one measure, which is combined, so only 1 marks card. So I want to change it to the lines. Can I change it? Yeah, definitely you can change that. Is both same? Isn't it? Are both the same here? Both are same. So what is the difference here? So let's have the label, and everything looks very similar. Number of marks cards are 3. You have 2 measures. Here number of marks card is 1. I have only 1 measure, but everything is the same. So there's no change here. So which one to use? Depends on the requirement here. But what is the requirement? If you want to compare two measures, then use dual axis. So when you want to compare two measures, let's say number of orders, I want to compare with the sales, or number of orders compare with the profits. Otherwise, I have 4 regions. Compare the number of orders in all 4 regions. Number of orders compared with the 2 different regions. Yeah, how to do that? It's not very straightforward. You have to write some small logics. We'll see that in the later stage. Okay, so what is a blended axis? Dragging and dropping the measure on the existing axis. So how do we build it? So let's do it very quick one more time. So take a subcategory into rows or into columns. That's your choice. And take a measure. All right. And take the second measure and drag and drop it on the existing axis. Yeah. All right. So drag and drop it on the existing axis. So if you want to show this, that is still fine. So this is the subcategory. This is the subcategory. This is the profit. This is the sales. If you want to show this, you can leave it here as it is. But to show me in a colorful way, so I want to place this, but show me in the colorful way, then take this and drop it here, but hold the control button. Another important point. So hold the control button and take a copy of it and put it into the color. This should be still there, right? But what happens if I don't use control button? Then this will be removed, and this is how it looks like. right? So there is no copy here. But if you want to keep like this, but if you want to drag this into color, just understand what is there in measure name, sales and profit. So take this and hold the control button and move it into the colors. So we are building a colorful chart for the profits and sales. And remember, this is one type of a chart which is frequently asked by the customers. So they would like these kind of charts which are side by side. So they would really like to have these kind of charts. And it is one of the most frequently used one. All right. So this is occupying space. So I want to just close it. You can close it here, not a problem. All right. So how to get that back? How do I get that back? So right click and observe the option here, legend. Remember, not the movie legend here. Okay, so here there is something called as legend in Tableau. What is that legend? Very, very important interview question. These two things, which one? Color and size. Color and size are called as legends in Tableau. Only two things, color and size, because you can build different kinds of charts only with the help of these two things, the colors and the size. So that's why they are called as legends of Tableau. Interview question. Okay, what is a legend in Tableau? Color and size. So how do I get that back, which I closed it? So go to the legends. So I right clicked on here and legends and select here color legend. So you will get this window again. But I want to place this window here. Can you adjust it? Yes, you can just drag that and put that here. So I can still have this information on the screen. So which color talks which one? Okay, so this is a blended axis, and in blended axis we will have only one marks card, so please remember that. All right, so these are the three different types of charts, which are the individual axis, the dual axis, and the blended axis. Okay, so any questions in these three types of axis before we move to the next one? So open for questions. You can put it in the chat window, or you can ask the question.
So, what is the difference between the blended axis and the dual axis?
That is what we were discussing, isn't it? So the difference is you have the axis, you have the measure on the opposite side. In blended axis, you have the measure on the existing axis. And another difference is the number of marks cards are 3 and the number of marks card is only 1 here. And you will get the individual axis here, the names of the measures, and here you will get the measure names and measure values. So you have to explain these points.
Okay, got it.
Okay, all right. All right, so then we will move on to the next topic here. All right, so let's continue.
Sir, one question. This dual axis and blended axis almost look same, but comparing that in the blended axis, we are just placing on the same measure side, then we are getting a measure name and measure values. Whereas in the dual axis, we are placing it on the opposite side of the existing measure, right? So would there be any performance wise issue in the dual axis and the blended axis?
Nothing.
Any performance change in these two axes?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
So why nothing? Because whatever we have here, and whatever we have in another sheet, it's almost same. That means the SQL query is one and the same. So you are pulling three things from here, one from here and two from here. So it is like three values from SQL, and it really doesn't matter. Even though if you pull 100 or 100, so there's no difference in the performance.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Mm-hmm.
I am only joining as the user in different laptop. I couldn't make it out.
Oh, okay. Are you joining with the user as a username?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you. So I got a question here. Dual access can be performed on only two measures. Okay, and yeah, let's look at that question. Dual access means only two measures. Yes, so we take two measures here, but so observe, you can take the another measure here, and now if I want to drag and drop the quantity on this becomes the blended axis. If I want to drop here on the opposite, again there is an axis here. Can I drag and drop it here as well? See, I'm seeing a line here, isn't it? So I can drag and drop it here as well. And even the another one, which one? The quantity is done. So let's take discount. So can I drag and drop it on the opposite side? Yes, we can take it as well, but this becomes a very complicated here. So that means we can take a maximum of 4 measures in the dual axis. So 1, place it opposite side, 2, and you can have 3, you can have 4. So maximum you can take 4 measures, but generally we don't prefer having in these opposite directions. So we don't prefer that and we don't use that. So dual maximum, you can have 4 on the screen, but we don't use 3 and 4. We only use 1 and 2. But what about the measure values here? What about the blended axis? How many can I include in this? I took 2. Can I include more? Yes, you can include more measures. So if you want to just click them and say apply. So don't worry what I'm doing here, because it's a different topic again. So I can have different measures here. So I can have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 bars coming up here, isn't it? So I can have any number of measures, but the dual axis, it's only for comparison. So we take only 2 on the opposite sides. But don't take here the quantity, and don't take here discount. Just put it this way, only 2 things for comparison purpose. There are different types of charts where we can use for comparison purpose. So the one which we're seeing is one way. I'll show you a number of ways of comparisons, which we do a lot in real time. All right. The way we compare ourselves with the other person. So we compare one product with another product, one region with another region, and performance of one with another. So we have so many things. We'll see a different ways of comparing measures. All right, and let me look at the chat window again. And whereas the blended axis can be done for more than 2 measures. Yes, that is right. And can you show again how to unhide colors card? Okay, unhide colors card. Okay, so if you close this, how to get that unhide? Go to the legends and then select this one, color. Then it will come back. So you can put that back again. Okay, and which axis can be used more in real time? Yeah, it really depends on the question. If you want to compare, go for dual. If you want to show more values on the screen, then go for the blended access this way. So I would say this is the most used one, because many customers they like to have the values one beside the other. So we also call this as side by side bars, because you have one bar, next to that you have another bar. So there's another name which is called as the side by side bars, and this is little more frequently used one. But both of them we use it, but this is little. If I say, if I give 8, then I will give the previous one 7 out of 10, how frequently we use. All right, so the chat window is fine. So let's move on to the another topic here. So this similar topic only, not very different one. So it's again the stacked bar. Stacked bar, we will also see that the discrete coloring. Okay, we'll keep separate all the three. So what is a stacked bar? So we saw that when one bar is sliced into multiple pieces, we call it as a stacked bar. Okay, let's have the order date and let's have the sales like this. And can I swap it? Yes, use this option, swap it. I don't want a line. Can I change it to bar? Change it from here. Okay. All right. So can I have labels? Yes. All right. Now, what is a stacked bar? If I want to slice this bar into smaller pieces, why do I want to do that? This is year-wise sales, but I want year-wise, region-wise sales. So my requirement here is, so it can become little complex now. So year-wise, region-wise sales. Can you please show me that? Okay. Now take this dimension and put it into the detail section here. Okay, if I put that into the detail section, then what is happening here? So if you observe that one bar is now sliced into smaller pieces. But sir, how do we know which region sales is this number? It is not very clear. Yes, you are right, it is not very clear. Then what do we do? Take the region and put that into the label. But now region is displayed, number is gone. Very nice, don't worry. So take the number which is the sales and drag and drop into the label. So drag and drop into the label here. So we are making use of this option now, and even this option, isn't it? So now I can see that this is the region-wise, year-wise sales. So one bar is sliced into small pieces. So this is called as a stacked bar, right? So how did we do that? So very quickly. So this was my original screen, and take the region and drag that into the details. I want more details from this, right? So I'm getting, by default, I'm only getting the numbers because of this value. So measure, it is trying to display the numbers, but I'm overriding that. Don't show these numbers. I want region-wise numbers. Then what do we do? Then whatever you want to have these values, take the region, drag it into the labels. Okay, so I have these numbers, but did you observe the central is coming in the second position? This is not good, isn't it? So we want central on the top, then the number just below that. We can do that in two ways. So what is that? Click on this label, and go to the text box here. Go to the text box, click on that, and just select everything, and then put that and then place it here in the next, then delete this. So I'm changing the values in the label here, then apply. Now central goes up. So how did we do? So click on this, then go to the text box here and remove that, then place that here, then delete that. So now whatever you place the order here, the number and then the region comes like this. I don't want to do this shortcut. Allow the shortcut. So now just here you have the symbol T, isn't it? So the same symbol is T and T. So I want to have a region on the top. So just move this carefully to the bottom here. Right, so is it not changing? It's very interesting. Okay, if it is not changing, so then let's have a region into the label. So it should change, but okay, we have edited that box. So if you don't edit that, it should really change. So for now, let's do it from here itself. But the shortcut is we can just adjust that from these things. Because we changed this manually by going here, editing that, then this moment doesn't work here. Right? But if you don't do this here, so directly try changing the values from here up and down, then definitely it should work. This is a stacked bar and dividing one into small pieces. That's point number one. Second, I want to show it in colors. Okay, there is one dimension here which is ear. If I try to color this chart by a dimension, so let's say I'm taking a dimension which is region again. If I put that into the colors, it shows like this. And this type of coloring is called as the discrete coloring. Very important interview question. Discrete coloring. So what does that mean? Coloring a dimension with another dimension. Or in simple terms, coloring, if you're dragging a dimension into the color, then it becomes a discrete coloring, or you have many names, categorical coloring or dimension coloring. So why they gave these names? Because every value will have a unique colors. So where are these colors coming from? From this palette. Click on that, click on edit colors, and you will find these are the default values you have. So this will be arranged in this order. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll get a question, sir, if we have 12 values, you have only 10 colors. What happens after 11th or 10th? Again, it starts applying the same colors. So again, it starts applying the same colors after 10 are completed. So again, it starts with this same color again, right? So this kind of coloring is called as the discrete coloring, right? And there is another similar to this here, which is again a very important one. What is continuous coloring? So what is continuous coloring? Coloring by a measure is called as continuous coloring. We have to put here continuous coloring. So coloring by a dimension is called as, so you can say that, or just say that coloring by a dimension is called as discrete coloring. Certification questions as well, and interview question as well. So you will get exactly the same thing here. Okay, let's see what is a continuous coloring. Let's take here the same thing, order date, and let's take sales only and change the view and swap it Fine, have the labels. Now color by the measures. Okay, so if I color by dimension, discrete, color by measure, continuous. Why continuous here? Let's take a look. So again, I want to drag the sales only into the colors. Here also I have sales, and I want to drag again sales only into the color. But there is no restriction. You can pick anything. You can pick anything from this list and put it into color. That is called as continuous coloring. But for now, I want to use the same measure. Let's see what happens. Right, let's see what happens. Take the sales and put that into the color. What happened? Nothing happened. Can you arrange it in the ascending or descending? Yes. So if you observe, it is only one color only. So all these four is only one color, blue color. This is of light shade and this is of the dark shade. So that means wherever you have the least value, then that will be having the light shade. The highest value, that will have the dark shade here. So we have only 4 values. Can we increase them? So can we increase them? Okay, let's increase them here. So I want to place a subcategory. Now I want to override it like this. And can you arrange in the ascending order? Okay, observe now. So the least color is the least value having the light shade, and as you go on, the shade becomes dark. So that means if you click on the color, edit color, see the window here. The window also changed, isn't it? So it shows only one color, which is a blue, from light to dark. But if you go back and edit color, click on edit color. This is a discrete coloring, different colors for each value. Right, so this is discrete coloring and this is continuous coloring here. So we're getting a different option here. I didn't like the color, so I want to put it in some green colors. Okay, let's say apply, say okay. Fine, so very light colors, and as we go on, it increases the shade. So this type of coloring, what we call it as continuous coloring. These are all interview questions only. Telephonic round basics. Okay, and can I drag different measure? What happens? Let's do that. So I want to remove the sorting here. I don't want to have a sorting. I want to remove the sorting. How can you remove? This is descending, this is ascending. How to remove that? So how to remove the sorting here means right click on the dimension, and then here you have the option clear the sort. So don't sort, please leave it as it is. Okay, now I'm removing the sales. All right, and I want to see what happens if I color by another measure. Let's take profit, put it into colors. Okay, and I'm getting something like this. And can I click on color, edit color? Now you are seeing two things here, isn't it? Yeah, I'm seeing two things. Why? Because this is something like this. Because you have the profits, it has got the 0 scale. This is the negative numbers and this is the positive numbers. So if you have only positive value, then you will get only one color. But you have the negative and positive, so then the negative numbers will be with this color, positive will be with this color, and that is what it is showing here. So keep an eye on this as well. Right, so I didn't like these colors, so I want to have these something green because it is a profits, and this is something in the red colors because it is loss. You can change that. Right, now can I sort it? Okay, sort it like this. But which one it is trying to sort? Which one it is trying to sort? So it is trying to apply the sorting based on the sales here. Isn't it? Apply carefully. These are numbers. Are they in the ascending order? Yes, these are in the ascending order. So that means the sorting is applied on the sales. Now look at the coloring part. Now, what did we understand here? What analysis can we do? Even though you have good sales for tables, you have got the negative profits, isn't it? The sales are very good because the bar is going up, 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 and up. But if you see the color profit, we are coloring by profits. So it says it is a warning. You have sales, but you are into loss. So that means high sales doesn't guarantee you high profits. That is what the conclusion is. Isn't it? So low sales. So here you have low sales, but the profit looks good. The shade is little darker. So paper is very compromising for me. Even though you have less sales, profits are also very nice for that. So this is how you can do some analysis based on continuous coloring. So you can have more than one measure and color by one measure, show the values by one measure. So swap it. When you practice, keep profits here and put sales into the colors. See what happens, how it displays. Right, so try these kind of things. All right then, so today we are discussing a few things about the axis and the stacked bars, and then the discrete coloring and the continuous coloring. Okay, so tomorrow we will start with a different topic, which is about the geographical analysis. So we'll try something with this, and then we will move on to very useful and very important topics. Doesn't mean geographical is not important. This is also very useful one. Right? So that's all for today. So any questions? Final questions? Looking at the chat window.
Sir, can we get the list of questions to practice on that individual dual and blended axis?
Sir, it is there in the hard copy.
Is there in the hard copy?
So you have to talk to the institute, and
Okay.
you have to get the material, and the material contains every topic which we are talking now, with some questions to practice as well.
Okay.
So
So
it's
do we
there.
need to go and collect it from there, sir?
Yeah, if you are in same place or different place, if you cannot visit, you can ask them to courier, so they can do that.
Okay. Great.
It's not mandatory because this is a tough time. And not even now, I mean, even before, so they used to send couriers to out of countries as well. So within the country, not be any problem.
Fine.
Okay, so take the material, and it has got more detailed information than we are discussing here. So it will be little detailed as well, with the steps which are included.
Okay. Fine.
Sure, sure. Right. So that's all for today, and so we'll continue tomorrow, same time. Thank you. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye bye.